them home and you're all good to go. It's an amazing phenomenon, and it started really in the last 5 or 10 years where this kicking academy just keeps churning out guys like Mark Crawford, 28 years old, taking some classes, coming up to Minnesota and meeting a new friend for life in Pierre.
That's right.
A new mate.
Absolutely.
A new mate.
Absolutely. Although he said he played cricket, previously. I don't know anything about cricket.
I don't know anything about cricket. I just see it, and there's always highlights, and I'm like, oh, okay, what has happened there? But as far as the punter goes, and I love Greg Coleman's talk about that, they are difference makers in games, even though we don't talk about them a ton.
Without a doubt.
They flip the field. I mean, you look at some of these big booming, 73-yard kicks that the Vikings punter had last week against the Dolphins or whatever week before. That's the kind of stuff that can really change a game and flip it so that they have to march 80 yards. If you shank it, everybody's talking about you. If you're having good kicks, decent kicks, nobody's talking about you. If you boom one, to the 1 yard line, they love you. So punters are, damned if they do, damned if they don't.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think at the age of 28, his nerves are steel. So he's doing pretty well right now.
Something to keep in mind if you're watching at home, summer is just around the corner down in Australia, and that's probably where you can find me in about a month's time. When we come back on the Gopher pregame show, we're going to take a look around the Big Ten schedule, some of the key games coming up in the conference. We'll talk about that and more coming up on the other side of the break.
He's got to put us on the Snapchat.
Welcome back to the Gopher pregame show.
The sun is starting to peek out a little bit here at Huntington Bank Stadium as the fans start to trickle in, getting ready for Minnesota and Rutgers kickoff scheduled for 1:30 out here at Huntington Bank. Welcome back to the Gopher Pregame Show, everybody. Time to take a look around the Big Ten now, and we'll begin with a game you can watch right here on Fox 9. Number 2, Ohio State travels to Happy Valley to take on number 13, Penn State. Guys, this is the game in the Big Ten Conference this weekend. Ohio State has looked every bit as phenomenal as they have been all season. But this game is now in Happy Valley. Things could get a little interesting, I think.
Yeah, LeVar Arrington's down there. I just saw that. So this is a game where all the stars are going to come out. Like, everybody wants to see this game. Besides this in Ohio State and Michigan, this is one of those games a lot of people had circled to say, is Ohio State for real? If Ohio State puts up 40 on Penn State, then we know they definitely are for real, and it's going to be them versus Georgia in the college championship.
I'm interested to see how this one goes because Ohio State didn't play great last week against Iowa.
Yep.
The first half was kind of nip and tuck. We know about the Iowa quarterback position. You know, the poor kid from Iowa, I'm sure we'll talk about him. He finally gets a shot in the second half, fumbles the opening kickoff. Like, Ohio State wasn't great last week. Now, let's see. Probably a little bit different matchup. You know, they're probably just better than Penn State, and I know they're 2 touchdown favorites as well.
Another ranked team is on the road, and that's number 17, Illinois, as they travel to take on Nebraska. And guys, Illinois has only allowed 62 points in 7 games this season. That's not really going to bode well for a Nebraska team that doesn't really have many offensively explosive players. I'm looking for a reason to hype up Nebraska here.
Yeah.
I'm not really finding much.
Yeah, there is none. Illinois will win this one. Nebraska will probably score 6.2 points this game.
Okay.
And that's going to be big. Illinois is good, though. We saw them against
They're good.
the
Very
Gophers. They're a
good.
good team.
They're the best team in the West.
Yeah, they are.
I've seen almost all of them. I know we haven't seen Iowa and Wisconsin, but we know what those teams are. And what they do well, I'm going to use the cliche. It travels, Ron. It travels well. I mean, they play defense well. They dominate the time of possession with Chase Brown. Like, this is it's a tough place to play. There's going to be 90,000 people ready to go for Nebraska today, but I like Illinois as well.
Iowa has a chance to get back to 500 today when they take on Northwestern. Now, granted, Iowa has not looked great all season long, but when you look at their last 3 games, I mean, this is a tough competition. Ohio State, Michigan, Illinois, they have played difficult competition during that stretch. They've only scored 30 total points in those 3 games, but this feels like it could be a get-right game for them.
Their defense is going to keep them in every game the rest of the way. Who plays quarterback for them, we'll see. It was listed as an either-or on the depth chart. Iowa's one of the few teams that actually does the depth chart anymore. I loved Pat Fitzgerald's line about this, though, earlier in the week. He said, I wish the Big Ten would play this at 6 in the morning because he's not sure. It's not going to be anything pretty, right? Northwestern has struggled all season long. Iowa, we know, has struggled offensively. The over-under started at like 31, which is the lowest in the history of the Big Ten. I think it's creeped up a little bit, but it ain't going to be a pretty one today for sure.
Yeah.
It's going to be boring. It's just going to be a boring game.
I Am Group portion of the show?
This is pretty much, it's going to be boring. It's going to be a boring game. This is the thing about Kirk Ferentz and his son. He's got to get that offense figured out. It does not look good. They look extremely stagnant. They don't understand what they're doing. Northwestern just has to throw out a couple math problems, and I think Brian Ferentz will get confused. So if you could just confuse him a little bit with that defense and just rock and roll and move, I think Iowa's good.
I'll have you know. Very good mathematics
But not
program.
Brian Ferentz. He's the coach.
I
He
don't
doesn't
think
go to class.
I don't think he majored in math.
No.
Oh, man. Finally, it's a battle of the Wolverine State as Michigan State goes to the Big House to take on number 4 Michigan. Michigan State finally put an end to their losing streak last week when they beat Wisconsin. But, guys, Michigan, we talked about how great Ohio State has looked. Michigan has looked every bit as good.
Yeah, I'm taking the Wolverines here, really. I mean, Michigan State, I know they got Wisconsin a few weeks ago, but I still think they're trying to figure some things out. Michigan, as Jim Harbaugh said when James Franklin was mad about the tunnel controversy and they were throwing peanut butter sandwiches at each other, like, what a mess. As Jim Harbaugh said, we have bigger fish to fry. It's all pointing towards that last game, like against Ohio State, like it has for, it seems like, the entire history of time.
Yeah.
But I think, I know it's a rivalry game. You know this one well, obviously, Ron, growing up there, but I just think Michigan has too much.
Yeah, I mean, you see Mateen Cleaves and Chris Webber hanging out together on Instagram. You see Braylon Edwards talking to T.J. Duckett. I mean, you see all the Michigan State guys come out this week. I love it. This is a big battle. My sister went to Michigan State, so I'm going to hear the Go Green all day. I'm going to go for Michigan as well because I get to go against my sister. So I think Michigan is going to handle their business. They are getting ready to dominate the next 3 or 4 games because they know they have to do that in order to make it a good game against Ohio State to vault themselves back to where they were last year.
We got Mateen Cleaves and Chris Webber into the show. This has no doubt been the best Gopher pregame show
my
of the
childhood
season
right
thus
there,
far.
man.
Absolutely.
Man,
back
it's
to
my
the glory
childhood.
days in the state capital of California. On the other side of the break, we'll have plenty more. We'll talk about our keys to the game and what to expect coming up. We'll give you our predictions when Minnesota takes on Rutgers. That and more on the Gopher pregame show.
What's 2 plus? Patriots.
You're watching the Gopher Pregame Show.
1:30 is the kickoff time today between the Gophers and the Scarlet Knights. As you can see, the sun starting to pour over here at Huntington Bank Stadium. Back again with Justin Gard and Ron Johnson. I'm Pierre Nugent. It is time now, yes, bathe it all in. You know, who knows how much longer we're going to get this sun for the rest of the season, so soak it up as much as you can. Guys, it is time now to get to our keys to victory. Like we said off the top of the show, it feels like a must-win game. It's kind of felt like a must-win game last week, too, but at the same time, nevertheless, here we are with the Gophers at 4-3. Justin, your key to victory today.
I mean, I could go defense because I don't think they played very well a week ago, but I'm going to go to the offensive side, and it's really simple. It's probably too simplistic, and people are probably going to say, what are you talking about? Make a catch is my key to the game. Make a catch. And when I say make a catch, I mean make multiple catches. Make plays in the passing game. I go back to block one if you've been with us this entire day. That's TV lingo for the first segment of the show. Parker Washington, Penn State, makes an unbelievable catch and completely lifts Penn State last week. It wasn't a great scheme. It wasn't a great throw. It was just a wide receiver helping out his quarterback, winning a one-on-one battle. That's what has not happened in the Gopher passing game since what we're seeing right now, the Michigan State game. They're basically at 10% completion rate when it comes to 50-50 balls. We go back to the math, Ron. 50-50 is supposed to mean 50-50. You're supposed to win half of them. They're literally winning about 10 to 15% of those contested catches. You got to help out your QB. You got to help out your running backs. I want the receivers to make some plays today that aren't just the gimme ones, that are the trickier plays. That's what's going to take this offense back to where it was in September.
Boy, when I walk into a casino, if I can get 50-50 odds on just about anything, I'd be very, very happy about that. Absolutely. I take that every single time. Ron, your key to victory today?
Like every time Justin's talking, in my ear, I hear Kevin Hart screaming, like the quarterbacks are looking like, help me, help me. And everybody's saying the Kevin Hart stuff. You know what comes next. I can't finish it on TV. But this is my key. Evolve. Evolve. When I say evolve, this is what I mean. The offense is set. The check with me is set. But every once in a while, you got to evolve. And you got to go back to KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple, Sammy. Whatever you want to say for the day. But keep it simple. You have to keep it simple because when you have a guy playing off 10 yards from a receiver, just throw a hitch. When you have a linebacker in the box and you got two receivers to the left and only one DB out there, run the bubble screen. We know Glenn Mason loved the bubble screen. We know PJ Fleck did it at Western Michigan with Corey Davis. You got to get a little bit more simplistic in some of this stuff. Yes, we know you can run the ball, but how can you get that key 5 to 7 yards on first down to make second down and third down more manageable, to get back to that 7-8%? Evolve. Keep it simple. And when I talk about the Brian Ferentz math, count. If you're looking at 5 guys on the right side of the line, 2 to the left, just go left. That's going to be the biggest key. Go to the numbers. Let the numbers will never lie. That's what Michael Jordan said, or Jay-Z said it. Men lie, women lie. Numbers don't.
Numbers do not lie.
I'm writing all this down. We had Kevin Hart. We had Brian Ferentz.
Jay-Z's in there. Yeah, we got plenty of big names.
Cleaves earlier.
I mean, we have big names here on the Gopher Pregame Show. You better believe that. My key to victory, kind of like Justin alluded to it in the first block, if you're keeping up with the TV lingo here at home, third down efficiency. We talked about this all week long, especially on the PJ Fleck Show. 78% conversion rate through the first 4 games, down to 25% in the last 3 games. It's no coincidence what the record is combined when you look at the third down percentage. So that is my key to victory. Get it back to at least 50% if you can. Again, those 50-50 odds, you're going to take that every single time. Be efficient on third down. Make third down manageable. That is my key to victory. All right, before we get to the matchup meter, we want to tell you to download the Fox Bet Super 6 app for your chance at winning $25,000. Fox Bet Super 6 is a free-to-play contest where you pick the winners and margins of victory of 6 marquee matchups. If you get all 6 right in the college football contest, you have a shot at winning the $25,000 jackpot. Open the app, make your picks before Saturday's games all kick off. Okay, it is time now to turn over to our man Ron Johnson, the matchup meter, Minnesota Rutgers. Ron, what do you got?
Pretty simple. Numbers don't lie, like Jay-Z said, so I got to go with the numbers. You look at third down conversions. Rutgers 30%, Gophers, 58%. So I got to go with the offense for the Gophers. Defense, same thing. Third down conversion defense, red zone defense. The Gophers are higher. Scoring defense, the Gophers are 9th in the nation. Rutgers is 32nd. I got to go Gophers. Coaching, it's at home. It's PJ Fleck versus Greg Schiano. He beat Jerry Kill. That was another guy he worked under. Now he's going to go beat Greg Schiano because he's worked under him as well. It's just the Fleckisms of the year. PJ Fleck. For the X Factor, I'm going to give it to Rutgers. Why? Because it's familiarity. When you think about Simiak, Joe Harris-Simiak,
There you go.
being a former coach, you look at Schiano knowing Fleck. When Harris-Simiak knows what PJ and this offense wants to do with Matt Simon, and now you have Kirk Shiraka back, you know exactly what he wants to do. So he's going to try to figure out ways to, like, mess with them. Again, if Rutgers loses, nobody cares. If the Gophers lose, all hell's going to break loose. So I got to give that X factor to the Rutgers because it's all the pressure's on PJ right now.
You know, we just have a couple of minutes left here on the Gopher pregame show. We talked a little bit about it a little bit earlier in the show. We don't know yet if Tanner Morgan is going to start at quarterback. If he does not, and Ethan Kaliakmanis makes his second consecutive start, there's been so much talk and hype around the talent this young man possesses. If Ethan gets the start today, what does he need to do in order to kind of showcase everybody, hey, I can be the future of this program?
Yeah, I'd be surprised. First of all, I'd be surprised if Tanner didn't start today, just how they tried to accelerate his timetable last week, warming up against Penn State. But with Ethan, I don't know it's as much as what can he show, it's how do they help him show it early. You know, last week they're in a tough spot, 110,000 people, don't want a big mistake right at the jump. They were pretty conservative, right? They were handing the ball off to Mo. They didn't really let him get cooking until that last drive of the first half. So if he does play today, I'd like to see them just act like it is Tanner and allow him to keep throwing it.
I would like to see what Ron Johnson's about to do in the last 45 seconds.
This is what Ethan Keller makes at quarterback. He's got to, when he claps, get that fake go. He's got to get the fake go first. He's got to understand to see the defense, see the guys. No, if you're coming, I'm switching it. If he's here, I'm moving it. But he's got to control the offense. When he looks at a receiver, he's got to have confidence. When you look me in the eye, you know I can get you the ball. He's got to know that, and those receivers got to give him confidence. When he does this and he's in there and he's about to get that snap, he's got to feel confident that, like JG said, these receivers are going to go make a catch. That's what he has to do today to make me feel like he's got it.
Can you find better analysis